It's simple advice, but that does not make it easy. And
Yeah.
I mean, for myself, before I started this site and this broadcast and everything, I thought about doing Starcraft commentaries because I watched other people do it. I thought that was fun, and I wanted to be involved with the community.
Yeah.
But I decided that my in-game knowledge was lacking, and for various reasons, I never have enough time, or I suppose actual dedication to play the game to the very high level I would like to. So I choose to watch, write, read, and nowadays do interviews and videos instead. Because simply I wanted to contribute somehow, but I couldn't
Yeah.
put together all these things you talk about and do commentary as well. But there are many ways of doing it, and you can do other things that are related, and all it needs is creativity and a lot of dedication and perseverance.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think that what you just brought up is something so huge. Because, I mean, for instance, like Xeris, he's a great player. He was on the UCSD team that won the last CSL. I'll just do a little shout out to him that way. But I mean, he contributes a ton to the community in his ability to organize and keep people together. I have, been on teams where he is the manager, and he is just so on the ball. Anytime he's involved with an event, I just think to myself, yep, that's going to be well organized. And that's a skill set that he's just contributing to the community. So I feel like if there are other people out there, who are thinking about commentary, but it feels daunting, happily think of some way you can contribute, and you can become a really big force if you keep doing it, the same way that Xeris has become a really strong force and a well-known name in the community.
Words of wisdom from the man.
From a giant nerd with a webcam.
Oh yes, like so many would love to be. But in terms of branching out and differentiation of the scene, that leads us on to another topic that I'd like to bring up, namely Korea, eSport, and the world. I've written down on my notepad here, and Starcraft 2. Back in the Brood War days, we, as in the foreigners, i.e. everyone that's not South Korean, looked to the South Korean Starcraft scene for guidance, for entertainment, for everything. They were the best, they had the biggest infrastructure, the most elaborate eSport system, and indeed social acceptance in the world, and the very, very best players. And it broadcast every day, available on YouTube or for download. It was great, still is great. But also KESPA, the Korean Esports Association, and Blizzard, they don't get along. There are conflicting views upon whom should make the most money out of StarCraft 2 at the very least, now that things are changing. And I know you have spoken out in some other interviews in the past against KESPA and their very exclusive view upon things. Do you think that the Korean scene will, in StarCraft 2, regain its very superior position, or has the time come for the sort of foreign world, whatever that is, to dominate the scene?
That's an interesting question. First, I want to touch a little bit on the whole KESPA view.
Yes, I might have misquoted you there.
Yeah, I guess it's not so much that I'm like anti-KESPA and I want KESPA to like go down in flames or anything. Because I mean, I really don't know much about the internal organization of KESPA. I know that KESPA, for instance, has a lot of representation from the pro teams themselves, like on their board of decision makers or what have you. My main experience with KESPA is, for instance, some of their questionable calls during games. Like when Leda asked for a pause against Kal, but he typed the incorrect number of P's, so they disqualified him. It's like one of those things where you're like, wait a minute, And I mean, with this whole dispute between Blizzard and KESPA, I'm curious what the real details of it are, because I don't necessarily know if it's that Blizzard is just trying to make a profit and is realizing, oh hey, esports can make money, I want money. Because I mean, Blizzard lets WCG and ESL and TSL and IC Cup and a million other acronyms do pretty much whatever they wanted to do over time. I mean, including some of the major Chinese tournaments that were comparable in size to a lot of the Korean tournaments. And Blizzard pretty much let them be, as far as I know. So I'm curious to see what will come out of this whole decision with the rights, because I feel like at this point, Blizzard hasn't really said anything much about the tournament scene with their move to sign with GOM TV. It instead just looks like they're saying, we're just changing broadcasting rights, and that's it. It's just broadcasting rights. And GOM TV is, of course, stepping up and doing some pretty awesome stuff as well. I think that for the foreign scene, I think that this is the prime opportunity for esports to expand. Because if esports move to the West and to, America, I don't know if I think it's so much as, the downfall of Korea and the rise of the Americas. Yeah, take that, Asia, or anything like that.
No,
I think
it's not really what I hope to happen or see it.
Yeah. But I think that there's always been this weird middle ground that was such a big struggle for games, where they had to be both a good game to stay alive in a competitive sense, but they also had to have the flair that would motivate sponsors to come in. And there were a lot of games that had the flair, but didn't have the deep strategy, like Aliens vs. Predator 2 or Painkiller. These first-person shooter games that sort of spiked up, plummeted down, and were never heard from again.
Yeah.
And Starcraft had the difficulty of being an amazing game, but it has 2D graphics. Ugh. How disgusting. So sponsors were a little bit leery of it, and we say, oh, no, it was made in 1998, but it's still really awesome. It's still that sort of association.
Doesn't work.
But StarCraft 2 looks amazing in HD, and as far as I've seen in the beta, has an amazing depth of play. Amazing depth of play for a beta. That's the number one thing that I think is most mind-boggling to me, is that it looks and feels like a pretty damn well-balanced game, and it's still in beta. Holy shit, Warcraft 3 had the worst beta ever. Like, you made 6 archers and attacked with any hero you really wanted, and you won. And that was that, and hello, Warcraft 3, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it felt in the beta. So, I mean, Blizzard's...
What a days. No, not
yeah. and that's really what... that's really impressive to me, that Blizzard has created such a nice game. And especially considering that Blizzard has, like an eSports department that is in regular contact with, a variety of people regarding what they're up to. I mean, I am very excited for the growth and explosion of esports everywhere. And I think that it will almost certainly happen in the next 2 to 5 years. I would expect it to be much closer to that 2-year end of things. Probably even 1.
Yes, these are promising times. But speaking of that, and you mentioned GOM TV and their new plans, thought I'd ask you about your brother, Nick Tasteless.
Love that guy.
He's an awesome dude. He used to be, publicly speaking, the foremost Plott brother when it comes to Starcraft commentating, when he was, more or less the only professionally employed caster in the world on TV. And when GOM TV, for reasons that were perhaps not entirely voluntary, decided to stop their broadcasts, he has, as far as I know, done no official work, or very little, perhaps as a guest. What is he up to these days? Can you tell us? Can we see more of Tasteless in the world of StarCraft? Do you know?
I mean, well, right now he's building an Ark, and he wanted me to let the world know. I mean, I know that he's excited for the release of StarCraft 2. I don't know. I'll just let him talk about
I'd love to talk to him about it. That would be
For now, I think I have to plead my Fifth Amendment rights as an American.
I understand. Well, that tells a tale in itself, almost. So.
Well, I mean, actually, this is something that I definitely know for certain and can say. He has been playing a lot. He games quite a bit, and we even spar and practice a little bit. Flesh out our timings and stuff. And he has the same old personality he had in Brood War. So it's kind of interesting to see that come through in his play as he's playing StarCraft 2 with random.
Is he cannon rushing you?
Well, Nick has this. I think the best way to describe playing Nick is that it's very tricky. With any player I'm playing on the ladder, I'll have this set of possibilities in my head. I'll see. Okay, well, there's 2 gateways now. That means that he can be doing A, B, or C. And then I just sort of proceed as normal, knowing that those are the only 3 things he could be doing.